Hi, friends. Welcome to La Femme en Bleu. Thanks for tuning in. It's been some time since I recorded. It's unfortunately I haven't been as consistent since the beginning of 2025. Several things, computer issues, and of course, life takes its toll. So naturally, I'm not able to post as frequently as I would like to. But definitely, I am gonna keep on posting. I'm doing this from my phone, which happens to work well. I just have to make sure that I'm not holding it where it's shaking somewhat. But thank you for tuning in. Welcome to La Femme en Bleu. Please don't forget to subscribe. Just want to share with you updates. Right now, we are um, dealing with issues still, same previous issues. Unfortunately, I tell you, the only the I'm gonna give you a takeaway before I even say anything. If you are planning on getting married, please, 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 please make sure that this is someone that you see yourself long term with, and also someone you feel would be ideal to be the father of your child or the mother of your child. Okay, because keep in mind, there will be traits of that person and child. So you never know what traits there will be. Whether there will be positive traits or negative traits, but you want to make sure that if things do go sour, that you can still appreciate the traits that you will see in the child that you had seen in your ex. Okay? So I see a lot of traits in my son that I am fighting to remove because ultimately my desire is for him to be a well developed young man who can feel his purpose, and feel that he can be dependent and not have to be dependable on someone. And so, I'm trying to make sure that he does not use the word I can't. Um, and I always tell him, think first before you even say those words, because ultimately there is a way to get it done. You may not see it, and you can even ask me, you know, how do I do this, mommy? Versus, I can't do it. He tends to do that. And I'm like, if you say those words one more time, you're not getting rewarded for such and such. So I try to keep that in his mind. But what I was reading last night, I was reading, I guess, a news clip about Matthew McConaughey, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right. He wrote the book Green Light. And so I was reading an excerpt about him, and he has three children. I believe his wife's name is Camilla. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing or not recalling the exact names, but I believe it is Camilla. Um, so they have three children together. And he says in his household, there are several things that they don't do, but one thing that I remember specifically is the word "I can't." They are not allowed to use those words in his home, and I was like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding! I am doing it just as well." And I mean, I've been doing it for a number of years now, although it hasn't really stuck with my son. Every now and then it might slip, and he says, "I can't do this." But anyway, I think it's really important as parents that we realize, number one, the traits that our children have, because ultimately, um, I want to make sure that he grows up to be to see that he. Okay, I think I want to get my point across, but I'm just not thinking clearly right now. I'm always taping these videos early in the morning, and sometimes I'm like, okay, it would have been best if I had waited till after 9 or after breakfast or something. But please bear with me. But I want to make sure that he sees his full potential. That's what I'm trying to say. Because he is a smart kid. But a lot of times you have to draw those talents out of your child. And, he'll come home and he'll say, so and so is so smart. He always has the right answers. I'm like, you do too. You might not have had the answer right at that point. But if you think about it and you study the material, you will have the same answer. And there are times I tell him, I'm like, it takes practice. Everything takes practice, you know? So I try to tell him about the story of Edison, how many times that Edison failed before he actually got the light bulb to work. And so it's really important to instill these encouraging words, and kind of help your child to fulfill what he is here to fulfill, to reach his high potential and to not see that things are out of reach, but to kind of figure out, okay, how do I reach them? I mean, just to use a visual, do I get a ladder? Do I throw something at it to reach it? Whatever it is, there is a way to kind of get to that goal that that he's trying to get to. So I'm trying to make sure that he sees that, that there's always a way. It might not be the easiest way, but there's always a way. And so that's what I want to share with you. But again, I think the takeaway here is recognizing those traits, making sure that those traits are traits that you can work with if the marriage doesn't work. And of course, we don't enter marriages where we think about these things. I've always believed in the Cinderella story. So I didn't enter this marriage to say, oh, you know what, 15 years down the line, I'm going to divorce him and marry someone else. No, that's not what we do. We do believe in our vows when we get to that altar. The goal is to stay married. And unfortunately, according to statistics, 50% of marriages fail. But that doesn't discourage me. I'm a firm believer that marriages can work. I'm a firm believer that it takes time, it takes work, it takes dedication, more so than work. I believe that if you prioritize one another, then the rest will be easy. You know, Recognizing each other, making sure that you see your spouse, not just living together, but you see them. You see their hearts. You see what they are trying to accomplish for the family or for you. That you see where they prioritize you, and if they don't, talk about it. It's all about having a conversation. That's where it all starts. Because when you think back of when you first initially met this individual, how did it start? Was it a quick hello? Was it a smile? It started somehow. And when you think about it, go back there, especially, if it was a great encounter, sometimes it's even okay to go back and relive that moment, go back to where you first met, you know, do you remember when we did this? Oh, that was so much fun. We should do that again, honey, you know? So I am so pro marriage. Doesn't matter if mine didn't work, but I am rooting for everyone else out there who has a marriage to fight for, you know. And so, again, make sure the person that you're with is someone that you see yourself being able to have children with or grow your family. And again, those traits trickle down to the children. And so make sure you can live with those traits, okay? I love my son. Um, I wouldn't change a thing, regardless of some of the traits that I see that his father has, that he has as well. I'm like, there are times I stare at him and I just start laughing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like a mini him, but I love him dearly. And I don't see my life without him. So I'm thankful that God chose us to have a child. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't have the what that plan was. God does. He knew where I would be today way before I was even born. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go with the flow. That's who I was chosen to have a child with, or ultimately, I made the choice as well to marry this man. And you know what? I'm thankful for the experience. For as long as it lasted, I'm thankful. And I'm thankful for this next chapter of my life, to be a mom to my son. And unfortunately, if you've watched the other videos, we do have two other adopted children that I am not with. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to raise the one that I'm with right now. And so that's all I have to share with you today. Thank you for listening. This is La Femme en Bleu. Don't forget to subscribe. I really, truly appreciate you guys. And I will continue to grow this channel and continue to share with you. All right. Until we talk again, friends, take good care.